Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Big D is live on the Driving to the Top production and the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page as I recap week 2 of the NFL season. Before I discuss week 2, I did purchase a Miami Dolphin Gatorade towel for my as punishment for the Dolphins beating my poor Jags in week 1. So, yes, I have a Dolphin Gatorade towel, and while you can soak in my misery, please subscribe, like, and share the Driving to the Top Productions and the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube pages as we try and provide you with all kinds of sports, whether it be wrestling, golf, baseball, football, NASCAR. Also, check out the Big D podcast for audio information, Spotify, and Apple. So, seemingly there's more breaking news than ever. I think there's going to be like 18 injuries that'll that happened while I'm on stream this evening. But I do want to discuss a couple games. First one, surprise: the Kansas City Chiefs and Cincinnati Bengals play another classic, and like most times, the Chiefs win, 26-25, and it's boring. It's boring in a way because every time the Chiefs are in a go either way game, they win. Not because the Chiefs have the best offense, not or the better wide receivers, better offensive line, but the Chiefs, just like New England was in the 2000s, since just won. As the late Al Davis said, just win, baby. And the Chiefs just win, baby. The Chiefs are so fundamentally sound. The Chiefs make the right play at the right time, whether it be a screen pass, running the ball. Mahomes making a play on 4th and 58 or whatever. Sometimes not making a play, but forcing the other team into making a play. And going back and forth from that game, I thought Cincinnati had a real chance to win that game, especially despite Cincinnati laying an egg against New England. But as always, the Kansas City Chiefs find a way to win. And I don't think Kansas City's played well in its 2 games yet. I mean, Chiefs have not moved the ball particularly late in games. Mahomes has thrown a couple picks. Offensive line's been bad. Couple injuries with Hollywood Brown and now Isaiah Pacheco. But the Chiefs just won. And I mean, yesterday, Mahomes was not great. I mean, he threw for what? 100 something yards. Offensive line gave up a couple sacks. There were penalties on both sides, particularly from Cincinnati. But in the end, Kansas City found a way to win. And for the Bengals, there were 0-2 teams and 0-2 teams. I don't think this loss changes Cincinnati. I think the Bengals are still a really good team. For Cincinnati coming to Arrowhead without T. Higgins and playing that well showed me something. I mean, I don't think, and Ja'Marr Chase is not 100% fit. He'll get better as the season goes. Joe Burrow's still coming back from that wrist injury. But Cincinnati's a team the Chiefs don't want to play in January. And, I mean, I don't know what it is, but the Chiefs do not start off seasons well in Zach Taylor. I think Cincinnati's, 1-9 starting off season on Zach Taylor. Imagine what the Bengals would do if they went 9-1 instead of 1-9. But they're all pluses. I mean, there's no such thing as a good loss in the NFL, but that was a good loss on the road and fighting Kansas City to the end. But there were mistakes from the Bengals. I mean, too many penalties. The Ja'Marr Chase penalty was just dumb. The PI at the end of the game, I mean, sure, nobody likes it, but it's PI. And the Bengals also need a running game. Seems like Cincinnati's missing Joe Mixon. I mean, Zach Moss, Chase Brown are okay. But Cincinnati's only ran the ball for 74 yards. Kansas City doubled up the Bengals, and to be honest, it can't be all on Joe Burrow every single game. I mean, the offensive line's what it is. It won't get better, but Cincinnati makes too many mistakes. Can't run the ball. Joe Burrow's having to do everything. But the Bengals are still a playoff, if not Super Bowl contender, and I don't want to play this team in January. And for Cincinnati, I mean, they've got the Washington Commanders next Monday night, so maybe it's a get-right game. And for Kansas City, they're all questions. I mean, Travis Kelce's got, 37 receiving yards in 2 games. Isaiah Pacheco's now hurt with, fractured fibula. Marquise Hollywood Brown is on IL, may not play at all this year. The offensive line, not great again, a couple more sacks. And despite Pat Mahomes being the best quarterback in the league, a couple picks, I mean, that one pick may have been the interception of the year, but Kansas City, despite being 2-0, was a toll from potentially losing against Baltimore and a PR call from losing against Cincinnati. So 0-2 or 2-0. So, I mean, Kansas City's had some tough games. I mean, at Atlanta on Sunday night, at LA, and then the Saints. I would imagine a game against the Saints would be hard, but Saints are 2-0 and look like the best team. But Kansas City be fine, and I don't think Andy Reid and company would be concerned, but Kansas City will work with what they have. And then the most anticipated game Sunday wasn't for once the Bengals-Chiefs game, but the Sunday night game between Caleb Williams and the Bears, C.J. Stroud and the Texans. And boy, was that chippy. I mean, the Texans won 19-13, but seemingly there were issues with both teams. There were way too many penalties. I mean, it seemed like the Bears couldn't line up onside properly, and the Texans were playing with their hair on fire. I mean, maybe it's because Houston finally got a Sunday night game, but there were penalties on both sides. I mean, Chicago was flagged 9 times, Houston 12 times. There were turnovers. Caleb Williams threw a couple interceptions. I mean, it was a real slop fest for the second half where both teams only kicked a field goal. The Bears were 6 of 17 on third down. Houston was 4 of 14. But I know everybody will say, what's wrong with Caleb Williams? Let me tell you what's wrong with Caleb Williams. He went to the one team that can't produce quarterbacks. The Bears still don't have a 4,000-yard pass. I mean, do the Bears realize that you need offensive mind coaches, and yet they hired Bob Baldwin from Seattle, used 2 tight ends, and the Bears, as the late Dennis Green would say, are who we thought they were, and that's why we took the bleeping field. I mean, Chicago's got to be better offensively, but Fitz talent. I mean, added DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Roma Dusey, Keenan Allen didn't play, but the Bears' offensive line is bad. You know who leads the NFL in most sacks allowed? That'd be the Bears, and a few other teams. The Bears, Raiders, and 49ers have all given up 9 sacks in 2 games. And when Caleb Williams wasn't getting sacked last night, he was getting pressure, and the Texans were teeing off on him. Like, I don't remember a quarterback getting beat up that much in a game. And Caleb Williams is a tremendous athlete. He's the most talented young quarterback I've seen since Andrew Luck, if not Peyton Manning. But Andrew Luck's career ended further than it did because of the amount of hits he took in Indianapolis. I'm fearful that with Caleb Williams playing behind a crappy offensive line and no real identity in the offense, that his career will be Andrew Luck 2.0. As for the Texans, I think they're lucky the linebacker wasn't ejected for punching, I think it was Roschon Johnson last night. But I love Houston's offense. CJ Stroud's one of the, if not the best young quarterback in the NFL right now. Nico Collins is a man amongst boys. That guy, I mean, I remember when Andre Johnson played in the 2000s. I think Nico Collins is faster and more explosive than AJ ever was. And, Steph Diggs might be a pain in the bum, but he'll be that guy in the slot. I think Tank Dell's been a little unlucky, a couple of deep balls, but I think that changes. Hopefully Joe Mixon's okay. I hate those hip drop tackles. It seems like everybody gets hurt, but I love a lot what Houston's got going for it. It seems like nobody can get offense other than maybe the Shanahan, the guys from Mike Shanahan. I mean, Bobby Slovak, Mike McDaniel, Shanahan himself, maybe Kevin O'Connell, even though he's from the McVay tree. But there's a lot I like about the Texans. They're young, but this team will mature. Are the Texans Super Bowl material? I don't know. I mean, I think they lack maturity. Can't have 12 penalties against Kansas City. Texans are talented, but they beat themselves way too many times. And for the Bears, I mean, can the Caleb Williams get right? We'll see. We'll see, hopefully, because, I mean, Caleb Williams, first thing stalled. This guy was making millions at USC. Now, what? But he's going to say, Caleb Williams a bust. This guy's Brian Leaf. This guy. Hold on. We've got no patience anymore. We've got no patience. Oh, wait. Speaking of patience, it looks like the Carolina Panthers have run out of patience with Bryce Young. Yep, that would be Dave Canales has made his first big move as Panther head coach. Carolina has benched the 2023 number one overall pick Bryce Young, and the Red Rifle is coming. That being Andy Dalton will be starting for the Panthers this coming week. Honestly, I feel sorry for Bryce Young. I mean, you could look back and wonder what would have happened if the Panthers had taken CJ Stroud a year and a half ago. But Bryce Young has been a disaster. And honestly, with a new coaching staff, I thought some new weapons coming in place. I thought Bryce Young would look better offensively. This year, it's been worse. I mean, yesterday was 18 of 26 for 84 yards and a pick. I know nobody looks at QBR passer rating, but Bryce Young's QBR yesterday was a 6.4, and Bryce Young's passer rating was a 57.2. Meanwhile, on the other side, Justin Herbert put together an 87.9 QBR and a 100 passer rating. But Bryce Young's not been great, and seemingly Alabama quarterbacks have not done well in the NFL. Maybe Nick Saban. There's something with Alabama where you play with more talent than any other program in college football. But Bryce Young simply has not been good enough. And I think, and Dave Canales coming from Tampa didn't draft Bryce Young. So I understand why he's making this move. He's thinking Andy Dalton probably so gives the Panthers a better opportunity of winning games. And maybe it's good for Bryce to take not just a physical but a mental break, learn, and just relax. Because Bryce Young's going to take for how much Bryce Young has struggled in the NFL is how much CJ Stroud has succeeded in the NFL. And everybody's going to say the Panthers made the biggest mistake in NFL history. Bigger than the Chargers drafting Ryan Leaf in 98. Bigger than the Raiders drafting Jamarcus Russell in 2007. And it isn't just drafting Bryce Young at the 101. It's that the guy drafted behind him looks like a top 5-6 quarterback in the league. It's like the year the Portland Trailblazers didn't take Michael Jordan, but took Greg Oden when Kevin Durant was the number 2 pick that year. Oops. So feel sorry for Bryce. I mean, who knows? I mean, it seems like quarterbacks have gotten second chances, and some have succeeded this year. Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks are 2-0. Sam Darnold, the Minnesota Vikings are 2-0. Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints are 2-0. Trying to think of other quarterbacks. I mean, Matthew Stafford in his first season with the Rams won a Super Bowl, so maybe Bryce Young gets a second chance. Heck, Justin Fields with the Steelers are 2-0, so who knows? I mean, in the interim, it's bad for Bryce Young to be benched. Good for Deontay Johnson and Chuba Hubbard if you got them in fantasy because Deontay Johnson might get more than 3 receptions for 15 yards. That might be in a quarter, right? Because the red rifle look is way, but Carolina's been a disaster. I mean, there are some great owners. The Rooney family, the Hunt family in Kansas City, Baltimore's ownership. But David Tepper might be the worst owner, not just in the NFL, but in all professional sports. His ego is bigger than his bank account, and the Panthers are just bad. They're just poorly run. And Carolina also gave up on 3 players, age 25, 26 or young. They gave up Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, and Brian Burns. How do you give up on 3 guys? Now, one of them was in the Bryce Young trade. But then the Panthers could have kept Christian McCaffrey. Could have kept Brian Burns. Instead, they traded them for draft picks. Why? I mean, you want to preclude DJ Moore in Chicago, but DJ Moore would certainly help any young quarterback. And Christian McCaffrey, when healthy, is the best running back in football. Plus, Brian Burns, doggone good pass rusher. I'm not sure why the Panthers would deal him, but I'm not the owner. Nor do I want to be in Carolina right now because that team is a murky mess. If the Titanic sank in the North Atlantic, the Carolina Panthers are slowly sinking. So, I want to talk about some 2-0 and 0-2 teams. Heck, even Baker Mayfield's in that class with his 3rd or 4th team, but look at the New Orleans Saints. I thought the New Orleans Saints could be one of the worst teams in the league. I said before the year that Dennis Allen would be the first coach fired. In fact, he'd be fired by Halloween. The New Orleans Saints are not only 2-0, but lead the NFL in scoring. put up 47 points against the Panthers and 44 against the Cowboys. New Orleans is averaging 45.5 points per game. Not bad, right? And Derek Carr looks like he's better than ever. I mean, Alvin Kamara scored 4 touchdowns yesterday, including a 57-yarder. Rashid Shaheed scored a 70-yarder. I mean, the Saints didn't beat the Cowboys. They beat the poop out of Dallas, 44-19. I mean, in a way, it just shows what a great offense mind can do. And with Pete Carmichael there, the Saints were bad. Didn't know how to run offense. And now, Clint Kubiak there, play action, all this fun stuff. The Saints, I remember the Saints putting up this many points with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. And anybody drafted Saints in best ball? Rashid Shaheed, Kamara, Cole. You're looking all right. I mean, the Saints might not be the worst team in the league. Heck, they might be the best team, and I'm not kidding. I mean, the NFC South might be a fun division. I mean, Tampa's 2-0 beat the Lions. I mean, Baker Mayfield. Is Baker Mayfield a bona fide MVP candidate? I know it's September 16th, but Baker Mayfield was balling. The Bucs won. Again, Chris Godwin. So I knew he'd be amazing in the slot, but the Lions have got to run the ball better. I mean, the Lions are not built to throw the ball 50 times a game. Detroit has got to improve to establish the run and have golf throw and play action. I mean, who knows if Amon-Ra is okay? I think he is, but the Lions have to be better and really need Sam Laporta going. It can't be all Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams. They need Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs running the ball and golf throwing 25, 30 times. It might be boring, but that's how you win. And also, the Lions can't have clock issues like what happened in the first half. I mean, that's just inexcusable. With the penalty costing Detroit a chance at a field goal at least, in a game where had 2 opportunities late, that field goal mattered. They have cost Detroit a chance to win the game. And while Detroit was lucky to win Week 1 on Sunday night, Dan Campbell and the Lions found a way to lose when they could have won. And then, how about Minnesota, Sam Darnold? Not a lot of people thought the Vikings. I did pick the Vikings to win. To beat the San Francisco 49ers 23-17. But, Sam Darnold finally got a competent coach and finally got a team that believes in him. We saw Sam play in Week 18 with the Niners last year, and I thought he showed something. Sam was the number 3 pick from the Jets in 2018 and didn't go well. Maybe a little immature, wasn't ready to play, but got a second chance. San Francisco, now in Minnesota. No J.J. McCarthy, but Sam's got a great coach and teacher in Kevin O'Connell and taking advantage of it. And I mean, Sam's going to make mistakes. He's going to throw picks. I mean, the pick he made wasn't really his fault. It was an unbelievable play by Fred Warner. But that 97-yard touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson was sweet. And Sam's a gamer. He's got athleticism. He can throw the ball. And Sam's got a little spunk to him. And Minnesota's 2-0, despite the injuries with T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison. I want to play the Vikings if they get completely healthy offensively. And in Seattle, maybe the biggest coaching hire, one of the biggest coaching hires was Seattle getting Mike Macdonald from the Ravens DC as to replace Pete Carroll. But what was more important, maybe, was getting Ryan Grubb, the Washington offensive coordinator. He did great things with Penix, Roma Duse, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Pope. As Washington made it to the national championship game in 23. But what I see with Geno is a very talented dual threat quarterback, but he's got weapons around him. They've got Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker when he comes back, but they've got DK Metcalf's a big speed threat. Tyler Lockett is this underneath big play guy, and Jackson Smith and Jigma has a great number 2. And Seattle is using these wide receivers. I feel like Pete Carroll let the Seahawks in his past couple of years. I thought Seattle should have been a playoff team last year, but maybe Pete was a little stubborn, a little old school. Mike McDonald is taking these Seahawks in levels we haven't seen since Legion of Boom. And in a way, I wish I had picked Seattle to win the NFC West because Seattle right now looks really good. They beat the Patriots in overtime. Sure, it's New England, but it's a cross-country flight. Seattle looks dangerous. And in a division where the Rams are banged up offensively, San Francisco won't have Christian McCaffrey, and it looks like Deebo Samuel for this foreseeable future. Seattle could start piling up some wins. I mean, Seattle hasn't done well within the division, but that could change. Now it's for some 0-2 teams. Do I have to talk my Jags? But, the offensive line, I'll admit Trevor has not played well. I mean, I think Trevor's went 0-7 in his last 7 starts, and the Jags have not played well. I mean, they tittle away a game against the Browns, 18-13. The offensive line's not played well. Trevor hasn't played well. This coaching staff doesn't know what the heck to do. And defense, when you question the defense, honestly, defensively, I think the Jags have been fine. Only getting up, 19 points a game. And that's against Miami and Cleveland. But the offense has got to be a problem. And I'm wondering, is Trevor Lawrence seeing ghosts or something right now? Because what? Get out of here. So I've got special guests tuning into this stream, or at least trying to get into the stream, but Jackson's got to be better offensively. Quarterbacks making $250 million. This team's underachieved. Frankly, Jags could. They've lost 2 games by a combined 8 points. You don't want to overreact. But with road trips to Orchard Park and Houston coming, Jags could be 0-4, and then they're going to be a serious question. The serious question. I already mentioned the Bengals, 0-2. The New England game was a real stinker, but as good of a loss as you can have. I cannot figure out the Baltimore Ravens. 0-2, and that was not a good fourth quarter performance against the Raiders. Wait, the Raiders. Yeah, better. But, Vegas won 26-23. I've got a question for the Ravens. Where's Derrick Henry? Didn't you get Derrick Henry to run out the game? Instead, where was he in the fourth quarter? I don't know. I thought Derrick Henry played for the Ravens. It sure looked like it. But I don't know if the Ravens want to run Derrick Henry, but you know, watching enough Raven and Derrick Henry highlights, Derrick Henry is an old school running back. He wants to be 5 to 7 yards behind the quarterback because when Henry was in Tennessee, the quarterback be under center and give Henry the ball. But the Ravens are all not entirely in the shotgun, but 80-90% in the shotgun, which means Henry, if he's in the game, is either alongside or behind Lamar in the pistol. But that means if Derrick Henry's in the game, the other team probably thinks it's going to be a running play. But at Justice Hill, the Ravens' more pass catching tailback is in the game, probably going to be throwing the ball. So how the Ravens going to use Derrick Henry? And then, where's Mark Andrews? I think he plays for the Ravens. I mean, I thought he played for the Ravens. I mean, finally caught 4 for 51 yesterday, and Zay Flowers 791 and a touchdown. But really, Derrick Henry ran the ball 18 times for 84 yards, and a third of that came on one play. But Lamar must be better. I mean, 21-34, 81 passing rate, not good enough. And the Raven offensive lines was an issue opening night against the Chiefs and was a big issue yesterday. I mean, Baltimore didn't have an answer for Max Crosby. 2 sacks, and if he wasn't sacking them all, Max was all over. And we've seen the Ravens blow a couple big fourth quarter leads in the past. But the Raiders stole players came to play. Devontae Adams was magnificent, 9 for 110. Brock Bowers was fantastic. That guy, Brock Bowers looks like a beast. He looks like the next great tight end. Maybe Trey McBride in Arizona too. But I mean, the Raiders are feisty and will scrap, claw, fight, and steal one or two of these games they have no business winning. I think they even won that game last year. But in a way, after the coaching debacle in LA, come back, cross the country, and play a full quarter like that is very impressive. The routes to the Raiders and the Ravens 0-2 with a brutal stretch coming with Dallas and Arlington on Sunday, then the Bills next Sunday night, and then at Cincinnati. So Ravens have to win some games because, I mean, Pittsburgh's 2-0. I mean, it's funny. The Ravens have scored 43 points and are 0-2. The Steelers have scored what? 30, 31 points and are 2-0. And if Isaiah Likely would have been in bounds, Baltimore might be 2-0, right? And also, what happened to Justin Tucker kicking 50-yard field goals? I mean, I'm watching the game last night, and Ian Fairbairn and Kyle Sanders were kicking 50-yard field goals. Justin Tucker forgot his 50-yard kicking boots. But two more things I want to discuss. What happened to all these offenses? Because seemingly nobody can throw the ball this year. I mean, it's through 2 weeks, excluding tonight, passing touchdowns, 66 passing touchdowns through 2 weeks. What happened? Why is there a downtake in particularly passing scoring. Two reasons. One, I think teams are running the ball because they don't want the quarterbacks A getting killed. And B, defenses are playing more cover two than usual. It's what, 45, 46, 47% cover two. Because they don't want Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, Joe Burrow throwing against a single high safety. They'd rather you go 80 odds over 10 plays than one play. So the thinking is it's the old New England defense. New England might give up a lot of yards, but the Patriots didn't give up a lot of touchdowns. And in a way, it's smart because the offense commits a penalty, drops a pass, maybe somebody runs the wrong route. And now all of a sudden, instead of scoring touchdowns, you're kicking field goals. Also, offensive line play has never been worse. I mean, unless you're the LA Chargers or maybe Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, nobody's got two great tackles. Nobody's got five competent linemen. Heck, even the Philly offensive line looked average or below average in Sao Paulo last Friday night. And then what's with the crazy amount of injuries? I mean, this is crazy. I mean, Evan Ingram hurt his hamstring in the warm-up for the Brown Jaguar game yesterday. And then, I mean, Christian McCaffrey, IR. Puka, IR. Cooper Kupp, ankle injury. Isaiah Pacheco, fractured fibula. Joe Mixon, ankle injury. Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson. Tua's in concussion protocol. Seemingly every game you're watching, somebody big is leaving. Now Deebo Samuel's got a calf injury. So, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the Rams played with basically no offensive line or top two receivers yesterday. I don't know about you. You're not going to win too many games without a healthy O-line or wide receivers. I don't care how good your coach is. I mean, the Packers won a game with Malik Willis under center. I mean, hopefully we can find a way of keeping guys healthy. Otherwise, there won't be any healthy baseball teams left at the end of the year. Yeah, if you maxed out, you're praying that somebody stays healthy. But maybe we're in an era where, despite having so many great quarterbacks, teams are deciding, you know what? Let's run the ball, play good defense, and keep the other team's defense on the field, keep our defense off the field. So, I mean, things are going to change. I would expect we see some big plays before. Well, and hopefully these young quarterbacks get him because, I mean, Trevor's not been great. I mean, Anthony Richardson didn't look great against the Packers yesterday. Caleb Smith this one. Bo Nix. At least Bo Nix did a press conference and said, I threw the ball to the other team. At least he was honest, right? I mean, these young quarterbacks, the rookie quarterbacks who are starting now still haven't thrown a touchdown pass. The Washington Commanders won a game kicking 7 field goals. Giants scored 3 touchdowns and lost, so get that. And somebody tell me Austin Seibert, who just got to Washington this week, kicked 7 field goals as the Washington Commanders beat the New York Giants 21-18. Somebody explain to me them apples. But, it's week 2. Teams are going to change. Injuries are going to happen. Guys are going to get healthy. Others will get hurt. I mean, and we'll learn more and more about these teams. It is overreaction Monday. We overthink everything. I overthink everything. But as we hit 40 minutes on the stream, Uh, it's been a doozy tonight. Talk about everything, discuss all these games. Hopefully we have a good game tonight between the Falcons and Eagles. I think it's what, Philly -5 or 5.5. No AJ Brown. Hopefully Kirk Cousins looks better than he did against Pittsburgh. I mean, Arthur Smith knew more about the Falcons than the Falcons knew more about themselves. So thanks for tuning in to Big D's Week 2 recap. And I will see you later.